Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're stepping into the world of martial arts. We're going to be looking at a really foundational
Oh
text.
yeah, classic.
Exactly. It's Karate Do Kyohan, the Master Text by Gichin Funakoshi.
Mm.
And this isn't just, some dry instruction manual. It's really comprehensive. Funakoshi lays out 19 kata forms as the absolute essence of unarmed self-defense.
Right, it's like the blueprint.
Totally. It's packed with insights, illustrations. It's designed to teach not just the moves, but the principles behind them and how they actually apply.
And what's really compelling, I think, is that this book isn't just some dusty old thing. It was first published, what, 1935?
Yeah, way back.
But Funakoshi himself revisited it, refined it, shortly before he passed away. He lived at 88.
Wow.
So what you're getting is essentially a lifetime of his practice, his knowledge, all distilled right there.
Yeah.
And he drew from both Shorin and Shotokan styles of Okinawan Karate.
So it's this blend of deep technical skill and, as you said, this real emphasis on inner development,
Yeah.
spiritual qualities.
Exactly. It's that combination. Technical mastery alongside cultivating character.
Okay, so this deep dive should be really valuable then. Whether you're, already into martial arts or maybe just curious about self-defense history or even looking for a discipline that works body and mind.
For sure.
We're going to unpack what makes this text still so significant and what Funakoshi's teachings might show us about building strength, coordination, and, well, character.
Sounds good.
All right, let's jump in. So, according to Funakoshi himself, what is karate fundamentally?
Well, Funakoshi introduces it as this remarkable martial art from Okinawa. It gives you a way to defend yourself effectively, but without weapons.
The empty hand idea.
Right. And he acknowledges those almost legendary things you hear about, like people breaking thick boards in demonstrations.
Yeah, the flashy stuff.
The flashy stuff.
Yeah.
But he quickly points out that the real heart of karate isn't that display of power. It's more about the consistent daily training, mind and body together. And always with this spirit of humility. That humility thing seems key. It comes up again and again.
It really does. It's woven right through his philosophy.
And it's interesting how even the word karate changed over time. From Tang hand, hinting at China,
The Chinese influence?
to later becoming empty hand. That wasn't just semantics, was it?
No, not at all. That shift from Tang hand to empty hand, it carries real weight. I mean, sure, on one level, there was probably growing Japanese nationalism wanting to move away from the obvious Chinese link.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense historically.
But deeper than that, empty hand really captures a core principle. True self-defense comes from within when you're unarmed. It relies on your own skill, your own inner resources. It speaks to self-reliance.
It really paints a picture, that idea, relying purely on yourself. And Funakoshi seems to put a huge emphasis on the ethics of it all. It's not just having the power.
Exactly. It's about the why and the how.
Right. The principles guiding its use.
Precisely. Funakoshi strongly believed that if karate is used for, a good purpose, a pure purpose, it's incredibly valuable. But if it's misused, well, then it becomes harmful.
And he actually mentioned the specific concerns he had.
Yeah, he talks about people in his time wanting to introduce karate for, like, sailors' brawls.
Seriously.
Yeah. And he was strongly against it. It really highlights that the techniques alone aren't the whole story. It's the do the way, the path that's crucial. That emphasis on character development, a strong moral core.
So it's way more than just learning how to strike someone. It's the whole framework.
The whole philosophy.
Which kind of leads us neatly into this idea of the way from techniques.
Mm-hmm.
So Karate Do, as he presents it, it's an art where maybe one single perfect blow could be enough in self-defense.
That potential is there, yes. The value depends on applying it correctly.
But he's also really clear that just mastering the physical moves isn't the end goal, right?
That's such a vital point he makes. He really cautions against thinking technique alone is mastery. He hammers home the importance of the spiritual side. For Funakoshi, real karate training is, it's holistic. It cultivates virtues like courtesy, integrity, humility, and crucially, self-control.
So it's building character just as much as building physical skill.
Absolutely. Shaping the mind, conditioning the body, they go hand in hand.
It's not just about getting stronger faster.
No. While physical strength is definitely a result of the training, the deeper aim is, well, mental clarity. Developing this unwavering calmness. So you can face challenges, not just physical ones, any challenge with composure, with focus.
It's amazing how he weaves those two threads together constantly. Okay, let's shift a bit to the history he lays out in the book, the development of karate.
Yeah.
He traces it back pretty far, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he recounts the traditional story, tracing karate's roots all the way back to Bodhidharma.
The founder of Zen Buddhism.
That's the one. His legendary journey from India to the Shaolin Temple in China. And the story goes, he brought not just Zen, but also physical training methods for the monks. Discipline for body and mind.
Okay.
And over centuries, these methods supposedly made their way to Okinawa, where they blended with local traditions and eventually evolved into what we know as karate. It connects the physical practice to this, much older tradition of self-improvement.
So there's this almost mythic origin, linking it to deeper philosophies. And then, when it really took shape in Okinawa, those historical weapon bans were a big factor.
Huge factor.
Yeah.
Periods where weapons were outlawed basically forced people to develop effective, unarmed self-defense.
Out of necessity.
Exactly. And this necessity led to karate being refined, but also practiced very secretively. For centuries, it was largely underground. Training happened in hidden spots, techniques passed down super discreetly, teacher to student, adds a bit of mystique to it all.
Definitely gives it that air of a hidden art. And then Funakoshi himself becomes this, pivotal figure in bringing it out into the open, especially in Japan.
Right. He was really instrumental in introducing karate to mainland Japan in the early 20th century. He actually talks about it in the book, doing demonstrations, facing skepticism at first.
I bet.
Oh, yeah. But gradually, it gained acceptance. People started seeing it as valuable, not just for physical fitness, but for the mental side, the character-building aspects, too. It was a huge shift from a hidden Okinawan art to something recognized in Japan.
A real turning point. Okay, so let's get to the heart of his teaching in this book, the kata. These 19 forms he details. For someone maybe not familiar, what exactly is a kata?
Okay, so think of kata as like prearranged sequences of movements. They're almost like solo dances, but every single move, every block, every strike, every step has a specific purpose, usually a defensive or offensive application.
So you practice them alone, but they contain techniques for fighting.
Exactly. They're designed to teach you the fundamental techniques, the proper stances, which are crucial for balance and power, how to shift your body weight effectively, how to generate source correctly. They're basically a living library of karate techniques and principles.
And this book meticulously breaks down 19 of them, starting basic and getting more complex.
Yes, 19 katas are carefully outlined. He starts with the Taikyoku series First Cause, which really drives home the basic building blocks.
Okay, fundamentals first.
Then you move to the high-end series, meaning peaceful mind. That suggests developing more stability, more calmness in your technique.
Interesting names.
They often reflect the feeling or principle. Then there are more advanced ones like Basai, to penetrate a fortress, hinting at breaking through strong defenses. Or Kanku, to look at the sky, which feels more open, expansive.
And there are others.
Oh, yes. You've got Empi, flying swallow, suggesting quick, agile moves. Genkaku, crane on a rock, which famously uses a one-legged stance, testing balance. Ju 10 hands, Hengetsu, half moon. The Teki series, horse riding. Jian, temple sound. And Ten no Kaida, the Kaida of the universe. It's a whole spectrum.
Wow, quite a range. And as you see, the names give clues. High-end for peace, Basai for breaking through. Each one has its own lesson. Can we look a bit closer at maybe one or two of the foundational ones?
Sure. Let's take Taikyoku Shodan. It's the very first one. It focuses purely on the basics, fundamental blocks, straight punches. It's considered absolutely crucial for beginners to get the feel for stance, alignment, basic power, the foundation. Then maybe high-end Shodan. It builds right on Taikyoku, but brings in more variety in techniques, links them together more, introduces more complex body movement. It starts to flow a bit more.
And then a step up?
And then something like Teki Shodan is quite different. It's almost entirely in the horse riding stance.
Kibudachi.
Exactly. So it really emphasizes stability, generating power from that low-rooted position, even if you don't have much space to move. Each teaches different essential karate elements.
That really helps clarify how they build. And
Right.
Funakoshi's clear, it's not just about memorizing the steps, right? There's more to it.
Oh, absolutely. He stresses that rote memorization isn't enough. You have to understand the meaning, the practical application of every single move within the kata.
Visualizing an opponent.
Exactly. Why this block here? Why this strike now? And he warns against rushing. It takes diligent, repetitive practice to truly internalize the forms, to make the movements instinctive, second nature.
Quality over quantity. Really embedding it. You mentioned the book talks about different ways to study kata, like solo versus group.
Yes, he sees value in both. Individual practice lets you focus deeply on your own technique, your own pace, your understanding. Group training helps with timing. spatial awareness relative to others, and you can sometimes do basic partner drills based on kata moves to see how they work.
Makes sense.
And he also really emphasizes studying the imbusen.
The imbusen, what's that exactly?
The imbusen is basically the floor pattern of the kata, the specific line or shape you trace on the floor as you perform the sequence.
Ah, okay. Like the choreography's map.
Sort of, yeah. Understanding that pattern is vital because it helps you visualize where potential opponents might be coming from as you move through the kata sequence. It teaches directional flow and spatial awareness, the geometry of the fight, if you like.
That's fascinating. So even practicing alone, you're moving within this tactical space. Okay, this brings us down to the real nuts and bolts, the fundamental elements that make up these katas. Funakoshi spends a lot of time on basics, starting with the hand itself.
That's right. He begins with a primary tool. He goes into quite surprising detail on how to make a proper fist the seiken, how to fold the fingers correctly, where to place the thumb tucked firmly underneath.
Why is the thumb placement so specific?
It's crucial for maximum power delivery, yes, but also critically for protecting your own wrist from injury on impact. It provides biomechanical stability.
Oh, makes sense.
And he doesn't just stop at the standard fist. He introduces variations, like the one-finger fist, Ipponken, or the flat fist, Buraken, and the spear hand, Nukite. Each one has specific uses, often for targeting vital points.
Wow, the level of detail for just making a fist is incredible. It shows the precision involved. And then from the hands, we move to the foundation of fists. Fist stances, tachikata, these aren't just random ways to stand.
Absolutely not. Your stance is everything. It's your base. It gives you stability to generate power, maintain balance when you strike or get hit, and move effectively forward, back, sideways. Funakoshi covers several key ones.
Like which ones?
Well, there's the natural stance, Heisokudachi, often a starting or transition point. The front stance, Zenkutsudachi, very strong base for forward attacks. Back stance, Kokutsudachi, more defensive, good for quick evasions and blocks.
Okay.
Then the horse riding stance, Kibadachi, which we mentioned with Teki Kata, low center of gravity, good for horizontal power. And the cat leg stance, Ekoshidachi, much lighter, more agile, good for quick kicks and transitions. Each stance offers different leverage, a different platform.
It really is like having different tools for different jobs depending on the technique or situation, and then building on the hands and stances, you have the specific hand techniques, the tiwaza.
Exactly. He details quite a few. The basic is the regular fist attack, the punch, tsukite, delivered various ways to different targets. Then there's the spear hand attack, nukite, using the fingertips, as the name implies, often for pressure points or softer areas.
Precise targeting.
Very. And another key one is the sword hand strike, shuto, using the outer edge of the hand for powerful chops, often aimed at vulnerable spots like the neck or arm joints.
So again, it's not just random swinging, it's precise, targeted, based on understanding anatomy. And karate isn't just hands, obviously. Foot techniques, ashiwaza, are just as important.
Absolutely integral. Your legs are incredibly powerful weapons. Funakoshi emphasizes foundational kicks, like the front kick, megiri, and the side kick, yokojeri. Executed properly, these generate huge force. They're crucial for creating distance, striking powerfully, defending, targeting different levels of the body.
It really does sound like a complete system, using the whole body for self-defense.
Wow, we've really just scratched the surface of what's in Karate Do Kyohan. Oh, definitely. Funakoshi's master text is incredibly dense. It goes so much deeper than just the physical moves. It's a guide to a philosophy, a history, and ultimately, a path for self-development.
Right. So just to sort of wrap up our deep dive for today, we've explored these core principles of Karate-do laid out by Funakoshi. We've gotten insight into that empty hand philosophy, the history, and the absolutely central role of kata mastering techniques and spirit. And we touched on those fundamental building blocks, the stances, the hand techniques, the foot techniques.
And I think, connecting it back, the big takeaway is how Funakoshi insists on that link between the tough physical training and developing mental, spiritual strength.
Yeah.
It's not just about learning to fight.
No, it's bigger than that.
It's about cultivating a whole way of approaching things, a way of being.
Which raises a really interesting thought, maybe for everyone listening. Given how much Funakoshi emphasizes this integrated approach, physical skill, spiritual discipline, working together what parts of your own life, maybe a skill you're learning or a challenge you're facing, a goal you have, could benefit from that same kind of holistic view, where how you do something is just as important as what you achieve.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Maybe exploring something like a martial art, or really any discipline that demands that kind of physical and mental engagement. Maybe it could offer some new perspectives for your own journey. Definitely something to think about.
Food for thought.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.